All right, welcome back to the Sooner Surge Football Edition. Before we get started with this video, make sure you hit subscribe, click on the button, turn on the notifications, as you're going to want to be subscribed to this channel. We're going to be producing a lot of content for you. It's a big week. It's OU Texas, big week. And tonight, this video, we're going to be talking about 5 players for OU to keep an eye on. This. Their stock is on the rise. It's skyrocketing right now. And so we're going to go through these players who we think stock is skyrocketing. So first, Brody, let's put the first one up there.
Yeah, starting off, we got Jaden Gibson. I mean, to keep it simple, Jaden Gibson on Saturday night had the most impressive play from a wide receiver I've seen in a very long time. Would you agree that was just a wow type play? And it occurred on a 4th down, big play, and that he made a play. And he finished the night with 2 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. That long one was a 40-yard one or 41-yard touchdown. He also had 3 targets. So Jaden Gibson, man, that was a very impressive catch by him.
Yeah, and he's went from last year with the drops to this year he doesn't drop anything. His hands are glue. And if you listen to him at all in any of the interviews, it's like that was not himself last year, okay? This is the real Jaden Gibson, and that's what OU's getting right now. And just go look at the big plays he's made this year. When he touches the ball, something big happens. And they're not easy catches. I mean, and the other day, it wasn't so much the catch as it was after the catch. I mean, it was just an outstanding effort play. Nothing was going to deny him from getting in the end zone. So, yeah, he's got the physical size. He's got all the tools.
Yeah, so far Jaden Gibson on this season has 6 receptions for 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. His average yards per reception is 26.5. So Gibson, I mean, he's kind of emerged as someone who you can't really keep him off the field. He's going to get his snaps, and he's very much a difference maker for the Sooners. And I think now flipping it to a different side of the ball, and we'll get back to wide receiver, one of the players I think is a huge difference maker on this team, that's Gentry Williams. He's looked very good. He had the interception the other night, and his speed has been on full display this season so far.
Well, to me, he's one of the most improved, or I don't know if say improved. He didn't play a ton last year, but his stock is going way up. I mean,
way up.
I mean, what he's doing on his physicalness at tackling is unmatched from defensive backs there at OU right now. He's making the plays. That little screen that he's blowing up, it's just what you're seeing him doing that just doesn't happen that often. We haven't seen that much at OU in the past 10 years. I mean, he's blowing that play up. His coverage is great. Is that 2 interceptions, I believe, on the year? And so he's playing outstanding at a high level right now. And I think it's just going to keep getting better and better.
Yeah, he has 14 tackles for 2 interceptions so far.
And probably 3 or 4 of those tackles for loss, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's been very good. And I think we're starting to get into the territory where you really can make an argument that Gentry Williams has been the second best player on Oklahoma's defense so far, at least the 3rd best player. Him and Washington have been locks down on the corners. And if Gentry can remain healthy, which we've seen has been a little bit of an issue for him this season, he was dealing with the shoulder injury throughout the first couple of weeks of the season. But this is someone who, to me, really looks like a potential first-round pick in the NFL draft. He has the body type. He has the speed. He's got the skills. And this week in particular, this is, I think, going to be the week where we see how good Gentry Williams really is, because they're going up against Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell. He's going to get his toughest matchup of the season this year, and this is when we find out how legit the Gentry Williams play actually is.
Yep. Who's the next one?
Getting on to the next one, we got Nic Anderson, the touchdown machine himself. Man, it feels like every single time he touches the football, he ends up in the end zone.
Yeah, his attributes with his size, his speed, his ability, his route running, you saw on display the other day, it's just so good. I mean, all of it combined. He's a guy you look at and say, okay, NFL ready. He's going to be that guy, because his size, the way how physical he is, he is putting himself to be. I mean, you look at next year with this whole year still in front of him, and then you got next year. He's only a freshman because he redshirted.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
His stock's on the rise big time.
Yeah, he's got 10 receptions, 279 yards, and 5 touchdowns so far.
Yeah.
I mean, and the 5 of his touchdowns have all came in the past 3 games. The past 3 games, he scored 5 touchdowns. Well, he's been excellent. And just you mentioned, he looks like the most NFL-type player on that whole offensive side of the football. He looks the best ever.
And he's a guy, if he's got one coverage, and even if you
you just can't cover him in one-on-one coverage. He ends up in the end zone. I mean, this guy, he's got all the talent. He's been, I don't want to say a surprise because he hasn't really been a surprise, but this offseason we were calling him a Greek god, and now he's coming out here and he's performing to the hype that he had this offseason.
Well, and what I was going to say is his one-on-one coverage. If he has one guy to beat, he could go score a touchdown because it's hard to bring him down with one guy. So,
yeah, he's looked very good, and the stock is definitely on the rise. Another player whose stock I'd say is on the rise. We're talking about players who look good. That's going to be PJ. PJ has been. It just seems like every single week you start to see just more and more of him making those. He just makes some plays where you can see it and you're like, that was a nice play. That was a nice pass rush.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to say Adebawore. He has been. He's gotten better and better every week, and he's getting more snaps every week. And if you watched the game last year, I watched it for a second time, and they had a double team him. I mean, they can't block him. He's just going to be. And guys, you can hear it when the other players talk about him, the other defensive linemen. He is going to be legit first-round draft pick just for sure with his skill set. And he's only a true freshman. I mean, you're talking about a youngster that's out there playing in big moments already. And I look for him, kind of like Nic Anderson, I look for his snaps to increase. I mean, it's hard to keep him off. You're right.
Yeah, he had that half a sack last game against Iowa State. And even it's not just the sacks. You think back to Cincinnati, he had the one where he almost forced a fumble.
Yeah.
And there's just so many plays where they can't block him.
He's got moves.
And one thing I want to point out, and I think the PJ Adebawore stock is going to just continue to skyrocket, especially after this week. Texas's pass rush has had they've struggled. Their offensive line on certain sides of the offensive line, they've had some guys who have struggled to pass block. They struggled against Kansas. I look at PJ this week to be able to come in and maybe make a couple more flash plays. I'd honestly be shocked if there's not one play where we see him make a very wow play. So on to the next guy. We've been talking about the Texas week, and this is the transfer from Texas, Brenen Thompson, who he played his first snaps of the season last week, 2 receptions, 62 yards, and the speed was on display.
Yeah, and this one's a tough one. I know you put it on there because he hasn't played that much, but he's a guy when you look at speed, okay, this is just a comparison. I'm not comparing the player to him, but go watch Tyreek Hill and how big of a difference the speed on the edge makes, okay? Brenen Thompson, correct me if I'm wrong, his speed is right there with Tyreek Hill. On the track circuit, he's right there, okay? He's that fast, guys. If you watch that play where he went deep, those two guys look like they were almost standing still. So his stock is going to go up because he's going to get more opportunity, because if you get him in a matchup and it's one-on-one, it's over. You're not guarding him deep. And he'll either fly by you or put the brakes on. And, it's a huge mismatch problem. I see OU with – you put him and Nic Anderson in there and maybe
Anthony.
There's just so many weapons. So his stock's big time going up, and he's a youngster too. He's only, I think, a sophomore. So he's got a few years left too. One guy that's not on here that we need to talk about, Peyton Bowen.
Oh, yeah.
I know we just did 5 and there's more, but Peyton Bowen needs to be on here. Peyton Bowen, his stock may be rising more than anybody on the team. I think Venable said on his coaching show, he played 18 special teams plays the other night, and he graded out at 100%. That's insane.
Yeah, Bowen. I mean he's one who should be on this list 100%. The 2 pump blocks already. He just finds ways to make plays, and you can't take him off the field. I think he's going to have a big role this week versus Texas.
Yeah, and probably why he's not on this list is he's just been dang good from the start. I mean, it's like we expect. I mean, which is insane that we're even talking about a true freshman, and we're just saying he's that good already. I mean, he's just so good. So, and I look for him to make an impact this week in Dallas, close to home. So, there you guys have it. 5 players, 6 almost, whose stock is rising, skyrocketing. So, make sure you hit subscribe, join the channel. Really appreciate you guys. Put your comment in here. Who do you see on this OU team, both sides of the ball? Whose stock is skyrocketing? Who's going up? We'd love your opinions. Who are you watching that their stock's just going to keep rising? Big week ahead, guys. I mean, we got 4 more days, and it's here. Things are starting to get chippy on Twitter between the fan bases. It's getting close. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll have a lot of content the rest of the week. Till next time, guys. Boomer.